A solemn march made its way through San Francisco today as the relatives of homicide victims held a day of remembrance. Lisa Carton reports.
Dozens of marchers made a short journey in silence through the streets of San Francisco today, honoring their loved ones who died, victims of violence.
There shouldn't be all of us out here marching to remember somebody. This just shouldn't happen. But since it is happening, I just want everybody to know that they're not alone.
And the gangs killed him on April the 24th of this year. It's just been 5 months ago and he was my only son.
Helen Carlsen was also among the marchers. Her son Frank died in one of San Francisco's most heinous crimes of the 1970s.
A man broke into the house, took Frank's wife downstairs at knife point, had him tied to a chair, beat him to death with a claw hammer and a breadboard, and then had our daughter-in-law for 6 hours, and when he was through with her, abusing her physically and sexually, set them both on fire.
Since 1990 through June of this year, there have been 874 homicides in San Francisco. Today's march, called A Day of Remembrance, was sponsored by the group Parents of Murdered Children. One of their goals, to call attention to victims' rights.
We feel the criminal has all the rights and we have none, and yet we're condemned to a lifetime of grief because it's not something you get over. You learn to live with your grief.
The march ended with a ceremony inside the medical examiner's courtroom. Participants took time to reflect, remember, and listen as the names of loved ones lost were read.
Shennicon Westbrook, 18. Jen Lang, 73.
Brandy Toms, 47. Gennady Panoskoy, 46.
When people murder out of cold blood, they don't just murder the person, they murder the whole family. Feelings are never the same.
This flag at half-mast is San Francisco's way of remembering those that were lost to violence. The pain of losing a loved one is so difficult. The void, impossible to describe. In San Francisco, Lisa Carton for the 10 o'clock news.
Politicians met with constituents in San Francisco today to take a hard look at the quality of life here in the Bay Area. The town hall meeting focused on the subject of livability. Lisa Carton reports.
The Bay Area has long been an attractive place to raise a family, find a job, or simply enjoy life. But it also has its downsides: traffic, smog, expensive housing, and crime. The Bay Area's livability, along with its explosive growth,
people want the bark, but they don't.
Have become a major political issue, evident by the turnout at today's town hall meeting, hosted by Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi.
The Livable Communities Initiative is an overarching approach to saying we must think regionally, the government has a role in this, and that if we're providing for the future of our children, we have to do so in a very smart way. So let's talk about it in new, fresh ways.
More than 150 people showed up to talk and listen to this panel, which included Oregon Congressman Earl Blumenauer, who Pelosi credits with helping to make Portland one of the most livable cities in the U.S.
Government needs to lead by example. We need to do, whether we're elected officials, we need to do what we are asking the private citizens to do. For instance, maybe city council people don't have free parking and they use the Muni more often.
It's estimated the Bay Area will welcome 1.6 million new residents within 20 years. And if this rate continues, the Bay Area will see suburban sprawl that stretches as far south as Big Sur all the way north to Bodega Bay. San Francisco resident Joe Rowe attended the roundtable to find some answers.
It's livable if you work in San Jose and make more than $50K a year, but I've been teaching in the school district for 3 years, and I only make $27K, and I'm looking at having to be forced out of my apartment.
Yes, it's getting harder and harder. The quality of life, the cleanliness.
It's really frustrating when you're trying to go over the bridge, or if you're trying to get on 80 or 280, going to the airport or going over to Golden Gate or wherever you're going, and they're not accessible to you.
We'll address that in our Q&A.
Pelosi backs the Clinton administration's proposal for something called Better America bonds. The bonds would provide $9.5 million for parks and green spaces. The panel today said if cities become more affordable, people might stop moving to the farthest reaches of the suburbs, and that with its natural beauty and sophisticated culture, San Francisco could be a model for the rest of the country. In San Francisco, Lisa Carton for the 10 o'clock news.
And here in the Bay Area, despite recent acts of anti-Semitic violence across California, Jewish families were busy preparing to celebrate the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. Lisa Carton reports on the joy and comfort traditions can bring, especially with hopeful thoughts for a new year.
SHENSON'S Deli on Geary Street in San Francisco is the oldest Jewish deli in Northern California.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Oh, okay.
I need you to sign this.
It was packed with families today, rushing to pick up their orders for tomorrow's Yom Kippur celebration, the Jewish high holiday.
This whole period, Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, it's the period where, you know, we essentially clean up our act for the next year, repent for whatever wrongs we've done, and make plans to do right in the future.
The high holy days resonate through baker Sharon Dinkin's hands. By sundown, she will have baked 70 loaves of her specially made sweetbread, challah.
The fact that my bread is sitting on somebody's holiday table and it's part of their feast, I mean, this is, to me, is there's no way to articulate that. It's just a great joy.
SHENSON'S is a 67-year-old tradition in the Bay Area, and tradition is what calls Jews to fast from sundown today to sundown Monday, a time to reflect on their sins and open their hearts to forgiveness. On Monday evening, Jews will welcome the new year, breaking the fast with a traditional meal, with many of the dishes coming right from this deli.
By the time it's all over, I will have definitely sold over 50 pounds of smoked salmon, between 400 and 500 pieces of gefilte fish, 100 quarts of matzo ball soup, a couple hundred matzo balls.
My wife ordered it all and said I should pick it up after I exercised this morning. I know there's brisket and soup. Here, let's look. And matzo balls.
This time for reflection has some families questioning recent acts of violence, including last week's church shootings in Fort Worth, Texas. And Fuchs-Chesney and daughter Jordana are turning to their rabbi for guidance.
What can we do, Rabbi, to stop this? What can we do what can we do as individuals? Not as politicians, but as just individuals. And he will give us advice about what we can do as far as keeping our homes safe and how we vote and so forth.
This year, most of the temples have heightened security, and some temples aren't allowing you in unless you're a member and have a ticket.
But after temple and 24 hours of fast and prayer, it will be time to celebrate the new year.
So, you really want to know about the new year? Then I should tell you, as they would say, you should embrace life with love and great joy, and eat bread, it's good for the soul.
Thank you.
And we say, L'Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Just eat?
Eat.
In San Francisco, Lisa Carton for the 10 o'clock news.
And coming up, San Francisco's mayoral candidates hit the streets today to drum up support on this, the final weekend before next Tuesday's election. The latest KTVU San Francisco Examiner poll taken this week shows incumbent Willie Brown with a comfortable lead. But none of the candidates has a majority, and the real race is for second place and a spot in a runoff with Brown. Lisa Carton reports.
It's billboards like these, plastered on street poles all across San Francisco, that reminds residents there's a race on for the top seat in City Hall. Today, the last weekend before the big vote, the top 4 candidates took to the streets.
Isn't this fabulous? For once, I feel there's hope.
In a grassroots effort for support, Board of Supervisors President Tom Ammiano kicked off the day with a rally in the Castro district. Enthusiasm has been building for Ammiano since he filed papers for a write-in candidacy 17 days ago.
I think what was happening is a sense of real lack of energy around the election up until about 2 weeks ago, and now all I feel is energy. It's very empowering. And I think a lot of people just felt that distance from the electoral process. And this is direct involvement. It's hands-on. People get to know each other. They get to know the candidate. And I think it's one of the greatest things about the democratic process.
Across town in the Excelsior district, the spotlight was on the incumbent as he dedicated a newly renovated basketball court. The mayor made his case for keeping his job.
This place was in shambles. shambles. I mean, total shambles. The budget was unbalanced. It was a deficit. I mean, it was just a bad place. We turned all of that around. So now the competition is over. Who will manage this prosperity? Who will manage the good times? And I think the guy that cleaned up the place ought to be given the opportunity to manage the good times.
And in a more sedate tone, former political consultant and millionaire Clint Reilly, along with wife Janet and daughter Jill, chose the Embarcadero Farmers Market to meet and greet. Reilly has criticized Brown's lack of attention to Muni and the homeless problem.
They said he would fix Muni in 100 days and solve the homeless problem, but of course he hasn't. I've proposed a plan to fix Muni, mailed it to every voter in the city. I've also done a detailed plan on how we can reduce the size of the homeless problem and make progress on this most vexing problem that's facing our city today.
Frank Jordan, nice to meet you. Hi. Pleasure. Nice to meet you, too.
Frank Jordan walked the Marina District today. The former mayor and police chief says he thinks he has a real chance to face Willie Brown in a runoff election, and he says he's sticking to the top issues.
The number one issue, as you know, is homeless, but number two issue now is affordable housing. The problem we have today is that you have tremendous building and development and growth, and you have creating jobs are creating by the thousands in San Francisco, but the one thing that there's a crunch and the stress and pressure is not enough affordable housing.
All of the candidates are after the undecided vote this weekend. The latest KTVU poll shows 27% of the voters still don't know who they will vote for. Overspending, homelessness, and improved public transit seem to be issues that are front and center with the voters. So who will lead San Francisco's diverse population into the 21st century? Voters cast their ballots on Tuesday. In San Francisco, Lisa Carton for the 10 o'clock news.
A talented Richmond teenager suddenly has a newfound prominence. After years of trying, he has won a national competition that could lead to a career doing what he loves to do. Lisa Carton reports.
It's a typical Friday afternoon at El Cerrito High School, and in geometry class, 15-year-old Carlin Muccular is already thinking about the weekend.
Just probably go to the movies or something, just hang out with my friends.
With school done for the day, he briefly talks to friends, heads home, kicks his shoes off, and relaxes. You're looking at the drummer newly chosen as the best amateur in the country. The sophomore beat out as many as 2,000 rivals in a national competition. The finals last week in Los Angeles featured just 7 drummers. Carlin represented the Bay Area after winning a regional competition.
It was like a dream come true. I couldn't believe it because it's like I had tried so many times and like I failed before. So I just couldn't believe it that I won.
And indeed, Carlin was not afraid to fail. He lost in the regionals 3 times before this year's victory. As for his new title,
I don't take it to the head because I'm sure like there's some other drummers out there that like didn't even enter the contest that's probably better than me. So it's just a title. I don't take it seriously.
And the winnings? Oh, not much. Just a 1999 Yamaha motorcycle, $1,000 in cash, and a trip for 2 anywhere in the United States. And did we mention he also won this $9,000 set of drums with endorsements?
His father, Gary, showed us this video of Carlin already accomplished at age 7 when he started playing drums at his church.
Carlin, your room is not clean, okay? Your room is
While most parents would be running for the earplugs, Gary Muccular says the pounding is music to his ears.
It's not noise to me. It sounds good to me. My wife and I, and my daughter, and my oldest son, we're all proud of Carlin. He's achieving a lot of things, and so he has our support.
And the support of his friends.
He's totally cool. And he's a really good drummer, I know, because he's won all this stuff. But, you know, he's not letting it get to his head.
Now that he wears the crown, Carlin says he has to practice even harder.
If I play, I'll just play, period. If I'm playing in front of 10 people or if I'm playing in front of the amount of people that I played in front of at the championship, I'm going to just give it my best.
In Richmond, Lisa Carton for the 10 o'clock news.
Mm-hmm. 10 o'clock news. 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 10 o'c
Police in the East Bay are comparing notes tonight on 2 sexual assault investigations to see if they might be related. In one case, police shot and killed a rape suspect near Lake Chabot yesterday. In the other, 4 women were attacked in Oakland in the past week and a half. Lisa Carton has more.
350-acre Lake Chabot Regional Park is a popular East Bay destination. But today, the park's safety patrol turned away visitors from this trail because it is now a crime scene. Yesterday afternoon, police shot and killed a rape suspect after 2 brutal attacks in broad daylight on this popular path. Around 3 o'clock, authorities responded to a 911 call. When police found the suspect hiding in some bushes, a shootout ensued. Officers killed the suspect. This victim managed to make it to the lake dam and waited for help.
This appears to be 2 separate random acts committed by one individual. In one case, there was a sexual assault. In the other case, there was apparently an attempted sexual assault.
When these women saw the police tape blocking their favorite trail this morning, they changed their plans.
We got here and it feels weird, and the yellow crime scene tape is really a turnoff, so we're leaving.
It's pretty scary to know that these women were raped in the broad daylight, you know, and that someone was killed. And so, yeah, we were going to come out here. I didn't realize it till this morning, and once we got here, it was a little too eerie, so we're going home.
Women, even men, aren't safe anywhere. I mean, I can't believe this woman over here is laying there by herself.
West Shore Trail is off limits today while police continue their investigation. One question they're trying to answer, could these attacks here be linked to the latest rash of assaults in nearby Oakland? And in Oakland's Adams Point neighborhood on Staten Avenue, just north of Lake Merritt, a woman was accosted outside her home early yesterday morning. In the last 10 days, 3 other attacks have occurred in the area north of Lake Merritt from 27th Street to the 580 freeway and west to Broadway. Police say the victims in the 4 Oakland attacks are of different races and range in age from their 20s to 50s. Sergeant John King of the East Bay Regional Park Police spent his day at the Alameda County Coroner's Office waiting for the identification of the Lake Chabot suspect and working with the Oakland police to see if there's a connection between the attacks in Oakland and the assaults at Lake Chabot.
They're all under investigation. All of our resources are being employed to investigate the incident that occurred at Lake Chabot. And Oakland PD is also investigating all of their incidents, too. And we're working together to see if there is a connection.
I haven't heard anything more about the guy that they caught or killed or shot or whatever at Lake Chabot, and I'd like to hear some more about that. That might be able to put my mind and the other single women who lived in this building, their minds at ease.
But for now, police say they can't say one way or the other, and that a serial rapist might still be on the loose. In Oakland, Lisa Carton for the 10 o'clock news.